Hey, what's up guys? I am Kyle, the design director here at OG, and today I'm gonna do a little vlog action. I got the Evo here, Matt's Evo, getting all dialed in. I got the giveaway GT3 RS, wait, RS? Yeah. I don't know when this video will go up, but I imagine that that's gonna be already given away, yeah. So I think Monday is the last day, and today's Friday. Let's go talk to Scott and see what's up, because he's right here around the corner. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning.
What you working on today? Patty, all right.
Designs.
Nice. Is this the design proposal? Yeah.
Yep.
Working on his design. He's got a big shop. It's, what was this, 40 by 56?
50th, yeah.
Yep. So a couple lifts, some motorcycle parking, giant cabinet array, lev rack, wash bay, all the goodies. One of the things we were talking about yesterday was this wall boom extension and the ceiling boom, and how to kind of manage that, put it into a wash bay. Just pulling up a 3D view to kind of show you what's going on. I mean, pretty sweet how that works, because it folds up against the wall and really gives you a lot more room to work with for your wash area, rather than having it just ceiling mounted right in the middle. Because this section here will rotate on 180 degrees from this point, and then your ceiling boom still rotates at 360 degrees from that point there, so you get this much larger arc that it can swing across, which is pretty sweet. So anytime we're doing like a big shop with a wash bay that's kind of just open like this, we like to try and do that if it's not like just a dedicated wash bay. So it works out pretty cool. Swing the camera around, let's see the rest of the place. So we got the cabinet array here. That's kind of like our, what was that, our ultimate setup?
Yes.
Basically, yeah. We've got some lev rack on the right. We've got the cabinet array flanked by some air and power reels, and then we've got some back-to-back lifts over on the left side. We did a couple different revisions on this design of kind of how to set up the lifts.
Option 2.
Yeah, option 2. It's coming together, looking pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
So you're working with this computer right now, the desktop. We've also got the Asus ProArt over there that's kind of like his main machine, and the one that he takes home when he wants to work on some stuff. Talk to me about what you're going to be doing with like these two machines and what the plan is for that.
Well, the plan for the laptop is that we will be doing all of our design work on the laptop, and when we want to put out a really nice rendering of a three-dimensional design like what we're doing here, we'll go ahead and dedicate this machine for providing that power, which would be needed. So I'll go ahead and transition and do my main work on the laptop, and let this machine do all the powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I think the laptop, Bryce kind of spec'd this out for us, but it's got an i9 and a 30 or 4070, I believe. I don't think it says right on there, but I'm pretty sure it's a 4070. My Razer has a 3070, but this definitely gives us a little bit more headroom. And then this machine, I believe, has an AMD processor, some kind of Threadripper, I believe, and a 3080 Ti. So it does pretty good. Sean, prior to him leaving us for a big boy job, this was his machine, and he kind of got it all set up and everything. But yeah, we're going to be doing some rendering in twin motion. So the idea, like Scott was saying, that'll be the main work machine, and this will be like the render machine. We'll just set up hopefully we'll have this kind of just going at all times for rendering, which will be pretty cool. Scott's got his big old thermos of coffee.
Always.
Pretty sure 90% of his blood makeup is coffee and caffeine.
Right.
Probably.
If I don't have that going, I'll be on the floor.
All right, so we just checked in with Scott, and I'll give you a little tour around the design island. It's not really changed like in a long time, but maybe I'll talk to you about some of my plans. The way we have this set up, we've got our desks over here. I have my desk on the end. That desk is currently open. Scott sits there. And then we have this bank of desks over here. We got Ed and Donnie, and then like some of our artwork from the painting. You know, the whole plan was that this would be an island that we can congregate at, that like design clients can come and sit here, and we can work on a design. Originally, we were gonna put a TV up there, but it just didn't really work that way. So you come up with these ideas of how things are gonna work together, and it just doesn't work, or it just doesn't happen. So we put this on this side because we wanted the bar on this side, and you can't do drawers underneath this kind of bar extension. So we did the 360s, and we modified some stuff to kind of make this happen, because it wasn't originally supposed to look like this. But with the drawers on this side, in this lane that's here, it just doesn't really work out very well when we have a client that does want to look at this stuff and see the samples. Like 2 days ago, Matt had some of our office supplies. Check this out. It's pretty sweet. Matt had a client, actually, I believe it was Lena, who bought his Woodgate house. And then we're going to be redoing the outdoor kitchen. But he had her over here and talking about samples, and they were, congregating over here. And apparently, Scott just had to get up and get out of the way because there was just no room. So it kind of defeated the purpose of having all these samples, because then it kills workflow and all of that. So I think we're going to just take this whole thing and just turn it around, so that the 1540 can be over there. Maybe we'll just adjust the setup, and then we can figure out how to orient the tops so that it works. We'll do that at some point. I still need to model it out. It's one of those things. It's like we've got to, just like Matt has his long short list, we've got a long short list of things that we want to do, and it's just not enough time to do it. So taking care of design clients and invoices and stuff like that is priority and paramount, or our strategic planning items that we're working on. So figuring out how to change the island around isn't super high on the priority list, but it needs to happen. So we're getting to a point to where those types of things are able to happen now. So I'll be working on that at some point here, and probably next week. Bryce is hearing my camera, and he's like, "Sony? I heard Sony."
It's in my brain. I sleep and I can hear that.
All right, so check this out. Scott just sent over a PDF for me to review. This is design option 1 for Patty, and basically we have these design proposals that we build out for PDF, or in a PDF document. I've kind of got it cut off because it's got some personal information on here and all of that, but it puts together a floor plan view, and then we've got a couple here, so one without cars, one with cars, just to kind of show some ideas of maybe how the layout could go. And so what I'm going to do is kind of just look through this and review and see what kind of things I like or don't like or need to be changed. We've already gone through some notes, like me and Scott have kind of gone through this to talk about it, so I think this will probably be okay. Like earlier I was showing you when Scott was working on it, the boom pole, I still feel like this probably needs to be modified a little bit, but for this initial design proposal, it'll be okay. We've got hose reel here, we've got hose reels here, 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 and here. So basically the idea is that this hose reel situation for air and power will be able to service kind of this front area and this area. This one can do the back and that side. This one can kind of service this stuff over here. This can service these lifts and then down this way. As well as out that way if needed, and then we've got, and this can also go this way. We've got this air hose and reel setup to service down this lane and then kind of over to this way. So that way we kind of have all of our bases covered without having to do all 4 quadrants or something, which I guess you could do. I like to have everything mounted on the wall if possible, or near the wall. So that way you don't have stuff hanging down in the middle of the room. We've got 2 different options of this. One like this, where we've got the lifts in the back corner, and then we've got the other option where the 2 lifts are front to back. He's got all sorts of different size cars, from M2 competition all the way up to a Ford F450, I think, or something like that. So all sorts of different sizes of vehicles. Got kind of the pressure washer situation over here, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of see how we've got the motorcycle storage area over there, kind of in the front entrance. We've got the lifts. We've got the dedicated work area in the middle. We've got the wash bay area over on the right. This is looking pretty good for a first draft. Pretty functional, which is nice. Here is option 2. So you can see we've changed the lift layout, kind of reoriented some of this other stuff, just to provide like a different option. All of this is the same. This kind of provides a cool lane over here now for motorcycles, which I think is kind of sweet. I kind of like that. We may even change the lighting a little bit to where maybe you'd have some more spotlights type of situation going on over here. Not really sure yet. We'll see what Patty thinks, but doing the lifts like this then kind of opens up also this back wall a little bit, because we're not shoving everything into this back left corner. So, with 4-post lift, remember that like once the top car is up, you can just drive through to get onto the lift in the back and move that car up and then park under it. So it's just like one big driving lane, which is pretty sweet. Here it is with some cars. Potentially a little less parking space with this type of setup, but I like the layout. I like this kind of motorcycle section over here. I think is really cool. So we'll see what Patty thinks. Here's the interior views, kind of showing everything. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. We'll just leave the the linear light setup for now over here, just to keep everything nice and even. I'm not sure what his ceiling is like. It's probably some kind of open rafters or something like that, so we'll probably need to adjust that eventually. But this will be a really good kind of first draft. I might recommend that we do like the taller lev rack so that we get some more storage in there, because he's got plenty of ceiling height to do that. Yeah, this is looking pretty good. I like it. So one of the workflows that's important for us in design is that I'm doing the calls with the clients, like the initial call, and kind of just getting us on the same page, getting the relationship kicked off and stuff like that. Whether it's a phone call or a Google Meet, video call, and then I take as detailed notes as I can, because then Scott is the one who actually initiates the design and starts putting it into the software and all of that. But what has to happen is we have the client's ideas, we have my ideas, and then Scott has to figure out how to translate that and come up with the design and make it look correct and include all of the things that we want to put in there. And that's easier said than done. So what we do, and what's really important, and we've gotten a lot better on in these last few weeks, is that I will actually draw out the garage. I'll just draw a sketch. So I include really good notes based on our products, because our designs are always based on the products that we sell. And then I'll list out like lighting, flooring, cabinets, pressure washer, lev rack, compressed air, audio, all the different product categories that we're wanting to include in the particular garage. And then I'll give like a little synopsis about what we're going to be putting in there and where it's going to go, and how to implement it into the design. So that gives Scott a really good blueprint on what he needs to do, or to-do list kind of thing. And then a part of that also is then I will take the design or the plans that they've sent us, whether it's a floor plan or napkin sketch or whatever, and then sketch out a rough floor plan. I used to do like 3D, like perspective views and stuff like that, which I still love doing, but like it just takes longer. So really what has to happen, what's more important than me making a cool sketch or a cool drawing, is just translating what I know I want the design to look like to Scott, so that we can get started and get this going, and that first rough draft can be as accurate as possible. So let me show you, some of the workflow looks like for that. So I've got here, these are some of the drawings that I've done in the past, using my notebook and pencils. I've got a few different pencils that I use. This one's the Rotring 600, which is really nice, really solid. And I've done a pretty nice little layout here. This is a very simple, we're just doing flooring and lighting and a compressor and reels, some cabinets and stuff like that for Joshua. And this was a really cool drawing, but this takes a while, and I have to draw out the floor plan from scratch. So what ends up happening typically is that I don't have time for this, and then I just don't do it because I've got other stuff that I've got to do, and it just never happens. So I talked to Chris, and I was like, hey, I need to get an iPad. So this is kind of where we're at now, is I'm using an iPad for this. So what I'll do is I'll take, let's see, what's a good example here? So Will's garage, and I can do several different layers. So I'm going to turn on everything except for the image that I imported. So I'm taking a screenshot of his actual floor plan that he sent us, and then I'm putting it into Procreate. So that's the software that I'm using here, which is working out really well. Kind of taking some notes from 30x40 design and Henry Dow on using this, but I'm able to import the image and then use layers and stuff like that to add what I want to the design. So let's say I'm going to turn off all of these. So this is what I started with, and I basically just trace over the floor plan. Here, let me switch hands here. So let's change the lighting a little bit. There we go. You guys can see a little better. So I trace over the floor plan, adjust the opacity a little bit. I think I have like 43%. And then I start adding my other elements like cabinets and some notes for the cabinets that I may leave on or off, some different ideas, adding more items, and then some other kind of zoning ideas, stuff like that. So this one's there's not a lot of detail in this, but really the whole purpose is to just translate visually what I'm thinking to Scott as quickly and easily as possible, so that we can kind of get that going. So this was one that we came up with. It's not really like any fancy drawing or anything. It's just to get the idea on a physical image so that he can then incorporate that into the design. For Mindel's garage, we needed to do some space planning, and this is super simple, but just quick little sketches of like, all right, here's an option, here's an option, here's a L-shaped option, here's an option if we did like different buildings or structures for each thing, what size would they need to be. So it works out pretty cool to do it that way. And part of this whole idea is that I want to be able to share this stuff on social media and whatever, mainly because I think it's cool. Like I really like drawing. I think it looks cool. So I want to be able to share that, show what we're doing, show what we're working on. And if I can make it a part of our process, it's more natural and not contrived. Like some of this stuff that I've drawn on paper is maybe done after the fact or whatever, and not going to be quite as purposeful in that I've done it just so that it's cool and I have it, not really so much because like I have to translate this idea because I probably did this after the fact. Whereas this is done before Scott even starts doing anything, and that actually becomes useful. So there's a purpose for it, and it becomes a part of the story for each one of these designs. And like here's Todd's design for this garage that they're building next to their house. It's their detached garage, and we've got like a loft space that's up above and whatever. So like this isn't anything fancy, and I've just traced over his floor plan, but it looks kind of cool. But it's a great way for me to just translate what I think needs to happen for the design to Scott, so that he can get the design done quickly and accurately, and we don't have to make too many changes. Here's the original image that I traced over. I literally even like traced over all the little dumbbells and stuff. Here's that trace, and I could show either one. Like I could change the opacity of that if we wanted to still kind of like show it there, which is kind of cool. And then you can like turn on all of these other things. But the beauty of like the layers too is that I can have different options. So like I want to show what this cabinet array is going to look like with all upper cabinets, but I also want to show what it looks like with a TV. So I can turn on different layers for that, which you just can't do that without drawing another image in, on physical media. So there's pros and cons for both, but for our use of just getting stuff done, this iPad has been absolutely phenomenal. So I took a picture that the client sent and then just traced it out real quick just to come up with some idea of like what we were going to do on this back wall with the pressure washer and like the TV and stuff. And who cares if it's traced over or if it's not, professional quality art or whatever. It's just we're just trying to translate ideas. And that was the quickest, easiest way to do it, and it works out pretty well. It's not world-class artwork, but even like this, being able to write up on top of a image to be able to kind of show some information, some different ideas of like a water inlet placement and stuff like that. Is really cool. So we're talking about the outdoor kitchen for
my old house.
Yeah, for the old house. Changes that we're gonna make. Because we kind of designed it keeping the normal structure of what's there, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was thinking, what's the point? I mean, why would you spend $50,000? This is a $100,000 kitchen. I'm basically doing it at my cost because I want to do the video. And these are my friends. This is my old house.
Yeah,
it's cool to go back out there. And so I need another project. So I'm doing all my time and Mike's time for free, and I'm just having them pay, my cost on the thing. But to spend $50,000-$60,000 on an outdoor kitchen, even at my cost, is if we're going to do this, it needs to be a transformation. Otherwise, I suggest to them just leave it alone.
Yeah. And that's kind of my thought of the fridge. They bought this fridge that's kind of dent and scratch thing, and it's like, well, why don't we just put a nice Perlick in there or something?
We're $25,000, $30,000 more than they really want to spend.
Right.
So this is one of those things. It's like, you gotta cut some corners.
Yeah.
But they'll probably change it. I don't know.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up the software on my computer and build out the structure a little bit more. That's one of the difficulties we have with Chief Architect, because we're not architects here, is making the structure correct. So I'm going to open this back up and add in the beams and the posts and stuff like that, build out that as accurately as we can, and then Nathan's going to come in and help me do all the cabinets and stuff, because he's super good at that. And then we'll get this kind of transitioned and changed over to this normal L shape like we're going to
probably do is send it to NatureCast to make sure, because we're doing some new things that we've never done before.
Right.
The angles and how do we fill that in the back. I think we know how, but making sure we get all those parts and pieces as well.
All right, lunch is over, and I've been working on the outdoor kitchen layout for Matt's old house over at Woodgate, just building out the overall wall structure of the building, and then I'll build out the outdoor kitchen in that area there. So hopefully that'll work out all right. But let's go check in with Ed and Donnie here. Oh wait, Ed's on the phone. So we're dealing with customers' dimensions, customer requests, and we design it the best that we can, and then you get the stuff, and then we have to kind of figure out how to make it work. I believe this one was for a detail shop, and we were going to do some kind of blank back panels in between for their PPF plotters, and it was going to be really tight, and it was going to be a little bit of a custom setup. So now Ed's kind of on the phone with him and working through that process of figuring out, all right, how do you get this stuff set up? How do you do this the way that we kind of envisioned it and that they kind of envisioned it, and make it work? And then we'll see if there's any missing items or anything like that may be holding them back, and then get them sorted out, get it figured out. But let's check in with Donnie. So what are you doing right now? Just kind of going through orders and stuff?
Go through all unfulfilled orders and cross-referencing between SKU labs and Costco to see what is shipped and what hasn't.
Yeah.
And just kind of clean it up there, and so everybody knows where we're putting on all of our orders.
Yeah, because we get, we have a lot of orders, but we have a lot of stuff that shows as unfulfilled, and probably either it's a mistake in the system, or maybe something actually didn't ship out, or there might be like a drop ship item that's back ordered or something like that. So he's kind of just going through and making sure, kind of taking inventory and auditing all of that stuff to make sure that you guys are getting what you bought and what you paid for. So it's good to have Donnie on board helping out with all of that stuff along with the drop shipping, because it was kind of just like an afterthought before. Not an afterthought, but we didn't have like a specific person doing it. So I feel like it's making a big difference.
Yeah, and when the systems changed, it
Yeah, like
kind of froze everything.
right.
Really.
It put a huge wrench in everything, and stuff's not syncing properly and stuff. So we're working actively, as you can tell, to really figure that out. So Donnie's keeping like notes of all the orders he's got to check on and all of that. We're also using Monday for that, to be able to make sure that everything's getting shipped and fulfilled and all of that. Scroll through that a little bit. So these are all the orders that Donnie is assigned to, that he's going to have to work on and follow up with and all of that. Just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items.
That's just Monday.
So that's just the stuff for Monday. A lot of it's kind of easy to go through, but then some things take some extra time. Donnie's come on, and he is the sole guy for drop shipping. Now, he works under me. He works in design. But he really eventually will work just for design. So right now he's doing all of the order auditing for the entire company. He's doing all of the drop shipping for the entire company. But as we grow, it's going to be too much for him to handle, and then that'll probably split off to where we've got one guy that's dealing with all the regular online store orders, and then we have Donnie and his team as it grows, maybe if he wants to do that or if that works out, to where he'll be able to handle just the garage design orders and all the orders that we're pushing through. As we progress towards our 10-year plan, garage design is a huge part of what we're going to be kind of producing, like revenue-wise. And eventually, 10 years, we may have like 70 employees just on garage design. So theoretically, there'll be 10 to 12 people or whatever that will just be doing the drop shipping and ordering and all of that. So right now it's just one guy, but that's the start. That's the start of kind of moving towards that 10-year plan and that 10-year goal. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Daughter's soccer practice. She's almost 3 years old and is playing soccer, and it's adorable. So gonna drive on home, but that's pretty much everything for a day in the life, I guess, of design department. Some of the stuff that we're working on. So yeah, glad I was able to bring you guys along for the ride. I'll try to do this a little more often now, I think. Just kind of talking to Matt about what things he think would be, good to kind of get the name out in terms of like garage design and what we're doing, and this seemed like a really good idea and a good way to just share the process. Like what Matt's been all about since the beginning, just sharing what he's doing, sharing what he's going through, and I think the rest of us should do the same. So to give you a little view here. Got my Golf R It's super digital, but man, I love it. It's so much fun. So I'm gonna head out. I'll see you guys later.